April 1st, 2026. Stocks soar on optimism of Iran war ending soon. Rubio pledges to re-examine NATO membership after denying U.S. access to European military bases for Iran war. One-way street. FBI agents who investigated Trump file lawsuit alleging retaliatory firing. Federal judge finds Trump violated free speech by ordering NPR defunded. Judge orders Trump to halt White House ballroom construction unless Congress okays it. Infinite immigration is the law of the land according to this radical judge. Mental gymnastics. Liberal justices baffled by Ketanji Brown Jackson's solo dissent in textbook free speech case. U.S. journalist Shelley Kittleson was kidnapped in Baghdad. Mystery of scientists dead or missing rises to 8 as 2 more men tied to America's most coveted secrets join the list. Anthropic leaked 500,000 lines of its own source code. Radical rhetoric. Contributor for far-left outlet says Israelis must be removed from our planet. Report says source for story about Kristi Noem's cross-dressing husband was immigrant sex worker who wanted vengeance. Trump reacts to report that Kristi Noem's husband was in bimbofication fetish photos. They confirmed it? That's too bad. Rep. Swalwell threatens legal ultimatum to FBI over possible release of Fang investigative files. United Nations human rights diplomat resigns, warns UN preparing for possible use of nuclear weapon against Iran. Russian tanker docks in Cuba after bypassing U.S. oil blockade. Pierre Poilievre says he would cancel high-speed rail line between Toronto and Quebec City. April 2nd, 2026. Artemis II astronauts bound for Moon after rocketing away in NASA's first lunar voyage in decades. Youngster who witnessed historic Artemis II launch goes viral for F-word response to CNN reporter. Trump vows to smash Iran extremely hard for 2 to 3 weeks before ending the war and brutally tells allies to just take the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. to leave Iran pretty quickly and return if needed, Trump tells Reuters. Iranian president says we harbor no enmity towards American people. Criminal cover-up. The Pentagon is hiding U.S. losses under Trump in the Middle East. Podcasters demand Israel send more troops than U.S. if Trump launches ground forces in Iran. Trump signs executive order cracking down on mail-in voting, ensuring only eligible citizens receive ballots through postal service. Supreme Court majority seems inclined to rule against Trump on birthright citizenship. Pelosi says Republicans may try to creep into election technology to create a false count during midterms. Report says California has lost 25% of state budget to fraud under Gavin Newsom. Florida Democratic politician found dead in home, husband arrested. Drunk women who left trail of destruction at hotel banned from every UK pub. Inside the bizarre feedback loop between DHS and MAGA influencers. Trump reveals how easy it is for bad people to seduce him. Problems with you. President Trump scolds reporter in Oval Office after she interrupts Iran answer. Hollywood woke moralizing is the pits. April 3rd, 2026. Bail Bondi. Pam Bondi's tenure as Trump's overpromising AG comes to abrupt end. Pam Bondi proves that for Trump you can't debase yourself enough. Trump's purge may be just beginning. Hegseth removes Army's top general during Iran war. Success. After key milestone, Artemis II astronauts speed off towards the moon. Region on edge. Iran announces threats following reported U.S. airstrikes collapsing nation's key bridge. Hesitant Keir Starmer told to expel Iran's ambassador at once after RAF base threat. Blake Lively's sexual harassment claims against Justin Baldoni dismissed by judge. Haley Steinfeld welcomes first child with Josh Allen. It's a girl. Tiger Woods' arrest body cam footage shows him telling police he's hoping to golf in the Masters. Depends on y'all. Don Lemon says he got N-word treatment from federal agents as former CNN star reveals details of arrest on The View. Bongino and Massey in heated exchange over ex-Capitol police officer allegedly failing polygraph about planning January 6 pipe bombs. Rep. Tim Burchett chose not to refute Matt Gaetz' comment about a military alien-human breeding program, then said the people that know are dying. Americans would be up at night worrying if they knew the truth about alien life, says GOP congressman. New DNA evidence links 1974 death of Utah teen to notorious serial killer Ted Bundy. National Capital Planning Commission approves White House ballroom in 8-1 vote. EU nations forced to pay for van der Leyen's COVID deal. April 4th, 2026. 2 U.S. aircraft shot down as war in Iran escalates. At least 1 crew member is missing. Secretary Rubio says the family of Iran's famous general were living lavishly in U.S. before facing deportation. Hegseth signs memo allowing military personnel to obtain permission to carry personal firearms on installations. More than halfway to the moon. See where Artemis II is right now. As Trump orders UFO data released, a question hangs. If aliens exist, what would they think of us? House Democrats to hold California shadow hearings on midterm election security. Ro Khanna vows Democrats will impeach Trump if they win the House. Wealth flight. Seattle businesses sound alarm on brand new 9.9% millionaires tax. Hospital woman in active labor to attend Zoom court for refusing C-section. After nearly a decade, the final charge against David Daledin for his expose of Planned Parenthood has been dropped. Experts on free energy and exotic tech dead or missing. 5 officers removed from duty after leaving bag of guns outside Sadiq Khan's home. Donald Trump's nightmare scenario as chances of GOP massacre jump. Inside the battle over Barry Sherman's billions, why a court may soon open the books on the murdered tycoon's family legacy. The Bilderberg Titan on trial. This murder waited 65 years for justice. Chinese surveillance rolled out in Africa, ZTE, Hikvision, Huawei at the helm. Pooh Shiesty allegedly kidnapping Gucci Mane caught on surveillance. April 5th, 2026. POTUS says, God bless America, God bless our troops, Happy Easter to all. We got 'em. U.S. rescues second F-15 airman in Iran, all personnel safe. Miraculous operation. Missing U.S. service member extracted, rescue team safely out of Iran, Trump announces. Trump gives Iran 48 hours to make deal or face hell. U.S. deploys bulk of stealthy long-range missile for Iran war. Putin's regime accused of tricking drunk Russians into joining the war against Ukraine. Zelensky's Christian-themed award to Callus is Satanism, says Moscow. Niece of infamous Iranian general arrested by ICE in L.A. over claims she celebrated deaths of U.S. soldiers as families' green cards are revoked. Artemis II toilet acts up again as astronauts speed toward the moon to break Apollo 13's record. Artemis II astronaut sensed burning smell coming from toilet. NASA starting to think stocking ship with Chipotle might have been a mistake. California election experts sound alarm as rate of rejected ballots quadruples. States challenge Trump's executive order on mail-in ballots. When legal sports betting surges, so do Americans' financial problems. General George says Army deserves leaders of character and farewell letter. Jewish-owned restaurant in North York shot up early Friday morning. White House wrecks wrong rumors that Trump is hospitalized. April 6, 2026. Pope calls for peace and Trump vows hell for Iran on Easter. Trump says we're blowing up the whole country if no Iran deal in 48 hours. Fight for survival. How seriously wounded U.S. airmen climbed mountain, hid in crevice, and dodged Iranian bounty hunters for 36 hours. Hundreds of SEAL Team 6 commandos, fake CIA intel, and a battle for survival atop 7,000-foot ridge, inside the historic mission to save F-15 airmen in Iran. Behind enemy lines, U.S. executes one of the most challenging, complex missions in Special Ops history. Trump says we will never leave an American warfighter behind. Tehran warns Trump over Strait of Hormuz threat. Netanyahu suggests Israel helped rescue downed U.S. crew member. Trump's Easter message to Iran: open the fucking strait or you'll be living in hell. Trump cabinet urged to invoke 25th Amendment against president. Polymarket apologizes for allowing disgusting bets on U.S. pilots downed in Iran. Global plastic supply chain further pressured as Abu Dhabi petrochemicals plant suspended after attack. After L.A. mayor's $300 million homeless program, 40% have returned to the street. Holiday horror. Easter egg hunt tragedy leaves young mother, her baby, and teenager dead. Teen mobs clash with police after Easter egg hunt spirals into chaos. Gigi Hadid addresses her and sister Bella's disturbing appearance in the Epstein files. A gray whale that swam 20 miles up a Washington state river is found dead. Taylor Frankie Paul, I'm going through hell on earth. Skeleton found in French church believed to be the real-life musketeer D'Artagnan. April 7th, 2026. Trump claims Iran could be eliminated in one night. Intelligence head of Iran's Revolutionary Guards killed in strike, media says. Drastic measures. Iran urges use to create human chains around power plants over Trump's strike threats. The media just can't help turning Iran fighter jet rescue into Black Hawk Down. Donald Trump vows to hunt down leaker who put U.S. Air Force rescue mission in danger. What kind of person talks like this, let alone a president at war? Ukrainian drones target key U.S.-linked oil hub in Russia, says Defense Ministry. Immigration agents launched an Easter offensive and picked up some really bad hombres. Artemis II astronauts heading home after historic moon flyby. Breaking. NASA's toilet just broke for the third time on the dark side of the moon. Tight-lipped. We got the university's Charlie Kirk shooting files with loads of redactions. Spencer Pratt's move to Santa Barbara County after his Palisades house burned raises eligibility questions in LA's mayor race. Rapper Offset is shot near Florida casino in shock attack 3 years after Migos member Takeoff was murdered. 2 bodies recovered, 1 presumed dead after driver fleeing police plunges car into Willamette River. Woman leaps into action to save struggling swimmer, only to learn he's wanted for a double murder. California officials say child's skull discovered at Long Beach Park during Easter egg hunt. I'm not using plastic. Trump touts falling prices and use of real eggs during White House Easter egg roll. April 8, 2026. Iran accepts ceasefire after Trump says it will pause bombing for 2 weeks. A whole civilization will die tonight, says Trump as Iran defies looming deadline. Iran ceasefire fails to quash Dem calls for Trump's removal. Trump and Iran agree to 2-week ceasefire. Iran agrees to POTUS demand to open Strait of Hormuz. With Trump threatening genocide in Iran, military must disobey his orders, former Pentagon officials say. Israel sold Trump on war with shaky intel pitch, says report. Trump has posted a lot of psychopathic things online. His latest Truth Social update might be his worst. Republicans win Georgia race, but Democrats post largest swing yet in special House elections. Mystery surrounds death of 9th scientist tied to U.S. secrets as disturbing pattern grows. ICE acknowledges it's using powerful spyware. Swalwell denies claims that he behaved inappropriately with young congressional staffers. Another major study says transing kids does not help mental health and may make it far worse. Brad Pitt fights Angelina Jolie's push to delay $164 million winery trial date. Alex Jones responds to Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes saying Trump could be the Antichrist. Artemis 2 highlights reveal life in space is even weirder than we thought. Moment teenager holds up chicken shop with pistol after they give him wrong sauce. Influencer's birthday party ends with hundreds evacuated after swatting call to police. April 9th, 2026. Trump suggests U.S. and Iran could work together to remove nuclear dust. J.D. Vance says Iran would be dumb to let talks collapse over Lebanon. Iran hits Gulf states after agreeing to fragile truce with the U.S. Iran releases handy map for oil tankers to avoid sea mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Trump threatens CNN with investigation following outlets' fake news reporting of Iran's ceasefire agreement. America barely uses Middle East oil, so why did gas prices rise? An Army veteran is charged with sharing classified details of an elite commando unit. Might get arrested. Files labeled Batch 1 for reporter found in an accused leaker's computer, feds say. Eligible U.S. men will be automatically registered for military draft pool beginning in December. Top House Dems signal openness to 25th Amendment push. Marjorie Taylor Greene tells Alex Jones it's time to burn the Republican Party to the ground because the majority are foreign agents working for Israel. GOP megadonor Leonard Leo is bankrolling a website on the warpath against Somalis. A landslide in Wisconsin will make it much harder for MAGA to steal elections. Disney plans extensive round of layoffs in the coming weeks. Bahamas boat twist. Husband of U.S. woman who vanished from boat in Bahamas arrested. Perp charged with slashing Irina Zarutska's neck found incompetent to stand trial. If the federal charges don't stick, he could be back on the streets. Dental student dies in fake ICU as telehealth doctor monitored him from a video screen, lawyer claims. April 10th, 2026. Straight ahead. Iran partially opens Strait of Hormuz, admits to placing naval mines. Corporate media's Iran war disgrace. Are they actually rooting for the Ayatollahs to spite Trump? The U.S. has spent billions on the Iran war. What else could the money have bought? Trump's war with Iran tripled U.S. inflation last month. Inflation climbs to 3.3%, driven by rising gasoline costs. Closer to a break than ever. Can NATO survive if Trump pulls the U.S. out? African country blocks children from social media. Democrats shut down talk of impeaching Trump. Melania Trump denies knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. Jimmy Kimmel shows Epstein photo Melania doesn't want you to see. White House officials reportedly disagreed with Melania Trump's Jeffrey Epstein statement. Trump calls Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones stupid people in long rant for the ages. How Artemis II will splash down on Earth tonight after risky 13 minutes. Ford government quietly reverses medical residency rule that excluded most immigrant physicians. How thousands of sensitive LAPD files got leaked online, and what happens next. The chilling role of ChatGPT in mass shootings and other violence. Women are getting most of the new jobs. What's going on with men? April 11th, 2026. NASA's Artemis II astronauts splash down on Earth after lunar mission. After a whirlwind mission to the moon, astronauts are back home. Here's what's next. Guest shuts down Bill Maher's attempt to trash Operation Epic Fury. Iran's new supreme leader has severe and disfiguring wounds, sources say. Muslim activists now say the Alamo is an Islamic structure. Nurse wretched. Vile NYC nurse who went on demented anti-Semitic tirade in Times Square traveled to Iran on propaganda trip. 4 women accuse Rep. Eric Swalwell of sexual misconduct, including one alleging rape. Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff call on Eric Swalwell to drop out of governor's race. How did Samuel Alito become this angry? Democratic leaders navigate minefield amid liberal clamor to remove Trump. System failure. As socialist mayor battles ICE, police and crime victims say repeat offenders are terrorizing the city. Former NYPD officer sentenced to 3 to 9 years following fatal cooler-throwing incident. Charlie Kirk murder investigators unveil damning new evidence they claim will put suspect Tyler Robinson away. Planned arch to Trump would be over twice as high as Lincoln Memorial. Gay sex finder app Grindr to host White House Correspondents' Dinner weekend party. AI will lie, cheat, and disobey humans to protect their own kind, study shows. OpenAI CEO's home hit with Molotov cocktail. April 12th, 2026. No deal. Vance walks away from Iran talks in Pakistan. Tehran rejects American requirements for peace. U.S. says 2 naval ships transited Strait of Hormuz for mine clearing. Trump says makes no difference to him if Iran and U.S. reach deal. Doge cuts left U.S. unable to help Americans stranded in Iran war zone. You cannot lose if you do not have a goal, the viral wisdom of Don Su. UK puts Chagos Islands handover deal on hold after Trump withdraws support. SNL humiliates Melania over insane Epstein bombshell. Tucker and Candace slam Trump as slave being controlled by unknown master. Why Republicans are defying Trump and refusing to get rid of the filibuster. How Trump-Vatican drama could impact midterms. Swalwell loses all 21 of his endorsements from Dem colleagues. Staff at Minnesota deportation hub received obscene Trump-themed challenge coins adorned with skulls. Mamdani just took his commie jihad against New Yorkers one step further. Fast food war zone. Multiple people injured in shooting as group of masked men storms New Jersey Chick-fil-A, says report. California fuel cell drivers line up for hours for a ration of the most abundant gas on the planet. Sabrina Carpenter confuses fans' cultural cry for a yodel, says I don't like it in now viral Coachella moment. 65 years since the first spaceflight. Here's why it happened in Russia. April 13th, 2026. Trump announces naval blockade to counter Iran's world extortion, warns they risk being blown to hell. Trump renews threat to destroy Iran energy infrastructure as IRGC warns of deadly Hormuz vortex. Oil prices surge after Trump says U.S. will blockade the Strait of Hormuz. Blown to hell. Trump announces U.S. blockade of Strait of Hormuz. Power of Trump compels you. Trump blasts Pope Leo after pontiff's veiled jabs over Iran war and immigration. Trump savages very liberal Pope Leo as weak on crime and furious tirade over American pontiff's Iran war criticism, before sharing AI pictures of Jesus with his likeness. President Trump says massive numbers of empty oil tankers headed to U.S. to load up. Viktor Orban concedes election defeat, ending 16 years of far-right rule in Hungary. Orban, beacon to the right, concedes defeat in Hungary's election. Congress is gearing up for their version of the purge. Here's who's on the chopping block. Fighting assault allegations, Eric Swalwell suspends his bid for California governor. Manhattan DA Bragg investigating Swalwell for sexual assault. Russian Orthodox Christian leader sends warning from Earth to space. Rory McIlroy goes back-to-back at the Masters to join Jack Nicklaus, Nick Faldo, and Tiger Woods. What the hell happened to Wendy's? Oregon deaths outnumber births by 19,000 this decade. My 600-pound life star Dolly Martinez dies at 30. April 14th, 2026. U.S. imposes naval blockade as Trump demands Iran end nuclear program. NATO allies refuse to join Trump's Strait of Hormuz blockade. Mark Carney scores major election victory in Canada. Eric Swalwell says he will resign from Congress amid sexual assault allegations. Kash Patel invites Eric Swalwell for a sit-down with the FBI. Trump deletes image of himself as Jesus-like savior after backlash. Trump rushes on MAGA Curious Network to bash Pope. Trump insists I'm not Jesus, I thought I was a doctor, after AI Antichrist. Blasphemy on Truth Social, a bridge too far. Things are looking quite bad for Trump. Texas GOP official says anti-Trump candidate tried to conceal background of Democrat staffer. The parable of the president. Caught on camera. Savannah Hernandez shoved to concrete by Minneapolis protesters in violent scene. Kentucky barista says she was fired for sharing her faith when coworkers specifically asked her questions about Christianity and sexuality. Accused warehouse arsonist compared himself to Luigi Mangione, pleads not guilty. Why King Charles may never speak to his disgraced brother Andrew again, as royals fear for his fragile mental state. New study says ultra-processed foods linked to preterm birth and pregnancy complications. April 15th, 2026. DOJ moves to vacate convictions of Proud Boys and Oath Keepers from January 6. GOP turns a blind eye to Trump's mental fitness. President Trump thinks soda kills cancer cells, Dr. Oz says. Biden pulls black man to podium, says he looks like Barack Obama. Swift Swalwell fallout suggests the Democrats have finally learned from Epstein. Clavicular hospitalized amid suspected overdose after unsettling live stream suddenly cuts out. Attention-seeking manosphere influencer Sneeko thrown to the ground by stranger during live stream in NYC. YouTuber terrorized Jewish communities by throwing money on floor to make Jew traps. Erica Kirk cancels appearance at event after threats on her life. Be careful. Vance issues warning to Pope Leo when discussing theology. Women snatch MAGA's megaphone. Dinosaur media is going extinct, and podcasts are the comet. Fox News lashes out at alternative outlets for influencing youth to doubt political establishment. Fewer Americans see China as an enemy ahead of Xi-Trump summit. Are Chinese ships running Trump's Hormuz blockade? U.S. and Iran's blockade on the Strait of Hormuz may again set Gulf ablaze. Virginia joins a national effort to ensure only popular vote winners become president. MP waves Israeli flag with swastika in Polish parliament. April 16, 2026. DHS employee killed while walking her dog in Atlanta shooting spree. Dad at Portland school pickup claims self-defense in shooting a fellow parent. The Somali community of Minnesota would like to remind America that today is tax day. Justice Sotomayor apologizes to Kavanaugh over inappropriate remarks. Tom Tillis blasts Fed investigation and says Trump should apologize for Pope attacks. Donald Trump shares AI image of tender embrace with Jesus in front of American flag. President Trump working very hard with House to reauthorize FISA warrantless spying after it was illegally used against his campaign. CNN data guru predicts nightmare is coming for Trump. The dam breaks. Democratic senators overwhelmingly reject arms sales to Israel. U.S. turned down Russian offer to take Iran's enriched uranium, says Kremlin. Pentagon approaches automakers and manufacturers to boost weapons production. Shoemaker Allbirds suddenly says it's an AI company and stock jumps 800%. Own goal. Government demands FIFA foot the bill for World Cup transportation after reports New Jersey Transit could inflate train tickets by 775%. Update. The plan to control Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos has failed. Colombia is putting them down. American YouTuber sentenced to 65 months in South Korean prison for offensive stunts. Australian police launch investigation into Katy Perry for alleged 2010 sexual assault of Ruby Rose. Katy Perry crashed prom night with Ruby Rose night of alleged sexual assault, says on video. April 17, 2026. History is running backwards. Trump officials negotiating access to Anthropic's Mythos despite blacklist. Sam Altman's side hustles blur the line between OpenAI's interests and his own. A court banned a man from ChatGPT. No one asked if that's constitutional. Jesus slaps Trump in AI clip shared by Iran. U.S. panel approves Trump's design for massive arch in Washington, D.C. I'm all about the gospel. Trump weighs in on feud with Pope. Carville predicts how long Trump, 79, has left in office. 10 Republicans joined Dems to extend temporary protected status for hundreds of thousands of Haitians, defying Trump and his voters. Ex-Virginia Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax's wife slammed him in divorce filing before murder-suicide. Former NBA star and coach plans to plead guilty in mafia-related gambling scheme. Singer David arrested after missing teen girl's body found in his impounded Tesla. Monk vanishes from secluded monastery, warned about unauthorized exorcisms. UFO-linked scientist who warned my life is in danger before she was found dead at 34 becomes the 11th mysterious case. Artemis II astronauts detail intense re-entry and interview with ABC News' David Muir. Dust storms have overtaken Coachella. Researchers say it's a sign of what's to come. Why is fecal bacteria presence in U.S. hotels much higher than in China? April 18th, 2026. Trump says U.S. will continue blockade after Iran says strait completely open. Tehran says U.S. President Trump made false claims amid peace negotiations. 20 GOP House members rebel against Trump, extend FISA for 10 days instead of 5 years after POTUS said warrantless spying bill vital to military amid Iran war. Trump says Pentagon UFO study will soon release very interesting finds. Ilhan Omar blames accounting error and insists she's not rich despite claiming up to $30 million in assets. Doug Ford's office defends purchase of $28.9 million jet that critics call his gravy jet. Meet the cannabis industry's Trump whisperer. Sam Altman's Proof of Human Company pushes into mainstream services. How the Americans' oligarchy went hyperscale. Clarence Thomas just gave a speech blaming progressivism for Hitler. It was mostly sad. French MPs withdraw controversial anti-Semitism bill. Group claims to have dropped radioactive material on Israeli embassy in Kensington. Victims to sue ChatGPT saying FSU shooter used product to plan attack. Alec Baldwin to face civil trial in Rust shooting case. Fire captain who killed his fiancée and her son over an argument about a firefighter movie gets life sentence. Cop who shot own partner and ex-lover waited before giving aid, disturbing body cam shows. Ice Spice slapped by fan inside LA McDonald's on video. April 19th, 2026. Trump signs order to speed review of psychedelics, including the controversial drug ibogaine. Pete Hegseth's Art of War. Donald Trump warns Iran no more Mr. Nice Guy after ship attacks. Supreme Leader reappears to warn Iran's Navy ready to make U.S. taste the bitterness of new defeats. Flat out crazy. Dem Gov rips Trump, says Americans sat a whole day to see if he'd commit war crimes. Bibi torched U.S. support for Israel for a generation. Mexico, Spain, and Brazil call for Cuba's sovereignty to be protected. He will be in our prayers, and I hope that we'll be in his. Pope Leo XIV and Trump move to dismiss media narrative of rift over war and peace. SCOTUS hit by bombshell leak of secret shadow docket memos. Ordered free and still locked up. Judges fume as Trump administration holds ICE detainees. Staggering number of booze deliveries Eric Swalwell charged to campaign, including Vegas Bender. Police reveal new details surrounding celebrity arrested for rape after Tyson Fury fight. Algerian migrant in the UK accidentally stole a Fabergé egg worth $3 million, didn't know what he had, traded it for drugs. Hollywood baffled by success of movie made to entertain people. Stalkers will exploit smart glasses, alarmed privacy groups warn. Canada Research Chair chemist Janice Palazin joins Chinese University. The little probe that could. Why Voyager 1 matters and why NASA just switched part of it off. April 20th, 2026. Iran slams U.S. armed piracy after ship seizure in Hormuz and vows response. CENTCOM releases video showing U.S. Navy blowing a hole in cargo vessel attempting to defy blockade. California woman arrested, accused of trafficking weapons for Iranian government. Trump's wild tantrum sparks call for drastic action. Trump signs executive order to allow psychedelic treatments. Democrats are split over what it means to block Israel weapons deals. IDF investigates soldier for smashing Jesus statue with hammer. America's heartland heroes make last stand against shadowy elite dangling millions to unleash a ruinous plague across the U.S. You'll have to dig up the bodies first. Man kills 7 of his children plus another child in shooting in Louisiana neighborhood. Worst nightmare. 8 kids massacred by deranged Army vet dad in Louisiana shooting ID'd. Dad, whose entire family died in Air India crash, told he can't stay in the UK. He stole Lego pieces, put dried pasta in the box, police say. Shake it, they make the same sound. Woman's month-long cough discovered to be caused by missing nose ring lodged in her lung. Aspiring pot companies had big dreams for Florida. Reality has hit hard. What's happening to Sydney Sweeney's character on Euphoria feels like a humiliation ritual. Doug Ford flip-flops, plans to sell recently purchased $28.9 million jet amid public fury. Is this paper antenna China's gateway to widespread naval adoption to 5G? April 21st, 2026. Iran war accelerates America's breakup with the world. U.S. spending on reckless Iran war could have saved 87 million lives, says UN. Mexico's Shine Bomb demands explanation after U.S. officials die after operation in Chihuahua. China's vast nuclear power sector now able to build 50 reactors at a time. Canadian tourist killed after gunman opened fire from top of famous Mexican pyramid. Trump says Energy Secretary totally wrong on gas prices not dropping to $3 until next year. Rep. Nancy Mace introduces resolution to expel Rep. Corey Mills. Kristen Sinema tells married boyfriend, "I cannot sleep, I am miserable." See alleged text found by his wife. MAGA now thinks Trump's assassination attempt was a hoax. Kash Patel is suing The Atlantic for $250 million because they said his drinking could harm national security. Caught on the tarmac. Feds arrest 21-year-old at JFK with telescopic lens, allege he targeted sensitive U.S. base. Judge imposes near-complete media blackout on trial of Black Texas teen accused of fatal stabbing at track meet. U.S. companies are getting tariff refunds. What about you? Tim Cook to step down as Apple names new CEO. Singer David charged with murder of 14-year-old girl following L.A. arrest. Alex Jones' Infowar could be relaunched as a parody. Elusive cloud jaguar caught on film for first time in decades prowling in fabled mountain range. April 22nd, 2026. Trump extends ceasefire until Iranian proposal is submitted and talks are over. Imminent threat. China caught red-handed over alleged Iran missile-linked chemical shipment. 2 Americans killed in Mexico revealed as CIA operatives destroying cartel drug labs. 21-year-old Chinese national arrested at JFK following Nebraska base surveillance allegations. Senator Chris Murphy is cheering for America's enemies as Dems spew lies about Trump and Israel. Virginia voters approve redistricting plan that could boost Democrat seats in Congress. Virginia GOP chairman says Democrats use dishonest language to pass new map. DOJ says Southern Poverty Law Center paid neo-Nazis and KKK to stoke fears about white supremacy so they could get more donations. Judge tosses out Keystone Cash's defamation lawsuit. CPA says Ilhan Omar excuse for massive wealth shift won't fly. Spanish serial killer moved to women's prison after claiming to be transgender. Colorado political candidate arrested for felony child neglect in Key West. Gilgo Beach killer told ex-wife he murdered 7 women in home. After Epstein's scandal, bidders race for Wasserman's $3 billion agency. UK Special Forces resigning en masse over war crimes probe. Ancient Bible story about fallen angels resurfaces as UFO disclosure reaches tipping point. The next AI arms race is about fortifying data centers. April 23, 2026. Lowering the gavel. Virginia Circuit Court rules Virginia's redistricting vote unconstitutional. The Virginia gerrymander disenfranchises Republicans. Law requiring ICE agents to show identification struck down by Ninth Circuit. Trump DOJ strikes heart of the deep state. Southern Poverty Law Center indicted on charges of fraud, false statements, and money laundering. Trump team pivoting to anti-Democrat messaging for midterms. Prediction market Kalshi docks 3 U.S. candidates for betting on own races. Carney liberals change rules to gain seats in Commons committees. This Somali man stabbed Canadian Army recruiters and was declared too insane to stand trial. The government is now allowing him to fly to Mecca, then to East Africa to meet a potential bride. Iran tells Donald Trump to shut up in latest AI video invoking SpongeBob SquarePants. Lavrov warns of rampant Satanism in EU. Anthropic says no kill switch for AI in classified settings. Tech billionaires want Christians to believe in AI. China's dark compute power could be 6,000 times higher than current estimates. NASA nuclear engineer burned beyond recognition in Tesla as mystery of missing scientist deepens. 12th person added to list of missing or dead government scientists and officials. Storage Wars Renee Nizoda reacts to co-star Daryl Sheets' death, urges action against cyberbullies who tormented him. Former Miss Teen Universe shot to death in Mexico. April 24th, 2026. Oil rises above $106 per barrel as U.S. and Iran deadlocked in Strait of Hormuz. Trump claims U.S. has total control over Strait of Hormuz after Iran seizes 2 container ships. Trump rules out striking Iran with nuclear weapon. Homan to Pope Leo. You don't know what you're talking about. Offers ICE ride-along. U.S. soldier charged with using classified intel to win $400,000 Polymarket bet on Maduro raid. Kash Patel is using MAGA's favorite tool to muzzle the free press. Southern Poverty Law Center's high-profile donors like Clooney and Soros stay mum after nonprofit indicted over alleged $3 million hate group informant scheme. Champagne socialist Hassan Piker justifies murder of healthcare CEO during New York Times interview. Planned Parenthood expanded gender transitions by over 40% in 2025. Millwall anger at Westminster Council after image of KKK member in children's booklet. Nike announces 1,400 layoffs, mostly in operations and technology. Chiefs Assistant Coach Dave Merritt arrested for domestic battery. DeepSeek releases next-gen AI model with world-leading cost efficiency. David's cell phone contained child pornography, prosecutor in LA murder case says. FBI and DEA seize 120 pounds of meth and 25 guns in massive Mexican mafia takedown in Southern California. Eyes in the sky. Football field-sized object tracked on sonar at 200 miles per hour, Rep Burchett says. The posting will continue until morale improves. April 25th, 2026. Trump's political headwinds pile up after a week of setbacks. Kash Patel got arrested for public urination after a night of drinking. DOJ drops criminal probe in Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Save the last chance. Why isn't the GOP using FISA as leverage for what they want the most? U.S. to bring back gas chambers, electric chairs, and firing squads for federal executions. Iran's ships sneak past U.S. blockade as Navy hunt goes global. Tennessee House passes bill extending stand-your-ground protections to homeowners' property. Illegal alien chews toddler's face during shocking attack at Texas Lake. Rebecca Grossman and ex-boyfriend were racing when 2 boys were killed in crosswalk, lawyer alleges. Millionaire big game hunter trampled to death by herd of 5 elephants. Political games. Democrat accused of stealing $5 million in FEMA funds quietly registers for another term. Siblings accusing Michael Jackson of sexual abuse allegations claim the late star groomed them as his soldiers. OpenAI's Sam Altman apologizes over failure to report Canadian mass shooter. The Republican who outsmarted Trump. These young, straight white Dems are punching down at Trump supporters. ICE planning facility for children and families on PFAS-contaminated site. Sour grapes. Ilhan Omar's husband's winery closes its doors amid scrutiny of Congresswoman's family finances. April 26, 2026. Security breach. Trump and cabinet officials evacuated from White House Correspondents' Dinner after shots fired. Trump unharmed after security incident at White House Correspondents' Dinner. Trump says one officer shot at D.C. dinner, suspect in custody. Leavitt made shots fired brag minutes before shooting. Trump's White House Correspondents' Dinner with the press turns into night of tears and terror. Trump shares video of sick person storming White House Correspondents' Dinner, stunning photo of suspect on ground. As Trump addressed the press on White House Correspondent Dinner's attack, a lot of new details have emerged. White House Correspondents' Dinner gunman identified as stunning footage shows shootout with suspect armed with shotgun, handgun, and multiple knives. Evil gunman at White House Correspondents' Dinner identified as California teacher. Torrance man identified as alleged gunman at Trump event. Here's what we know about the California teacher charged with trying to shoot up the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Shooting at Correspondents' Dinner. Correspondents' Dinner gunman was guest at D.C. hotel where event was held. Trump cancels envoy's trip to Islamabad. Hopes fade for breakthrough in Iran war. Pope Leo risks Trump's wrath once more with comments condemning death penalty. DOJ joins Musk's AI company in suing Colorado for new DEI regulatory law. EU's 90 billion euros may not be enough for Ukraine, says Wall Street Journal. There's something different about this version of the Democratic Party. April 27, 2026. Feds say manifesto outlined plot to target admin officials and expressed hatred of Christians. Would-be Trump assassin was dumbfounded by lack of security at hotel. This level of incompetence is insane. Who is Cole Allen, Caltech grad, teacher of the month, would-be assassin? White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting suspect described himself as a friendly federal assassin. President Trump says, "I didn't run from shooting, I wanted front row seat." Trump calls 60 Minutes reporter a disgrace for reading warped manifesto from White House Correspondents' Dinner shooter on air. Trump confronted on White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting being staged. After failed assassination, Democrats observe customary 5-minute pause on calling Trump Hitler. Dems called out for continuous anti-Trump rhetoric after third assassination attempt during White House Correspondent Dinner shooting. Obama says White House Correspondent Dinner shooting motive is unclear. Suspect's alleged manifesto tells a different story. Blanche praises shooting response as former agents warn of America's spiraling violence. The post-truth era is upon us. The Correspondents' Dinner attack is the latest example. Trump says he feels like a piñata after multiple assassination attempts. North Korea opens memorial museum for troops killed in Russia-Ukraine war. CIA ran MK-Ultra experiments on prisoners of war in U.S. custody, declassified docs confirm. FBI spooked by 15 stolen crop-spraying drones in New Jersey. U.S. state lawmaker killed in plane crash. April 28, 2026. Rep. Andy Ogles says journalists under a table said, "I hope they kill the Orange MF," as the Trump assassin opened fire. Reporters covered the Correspondents' Dinner shooting in real time. Conspiracy theories still spread. The company line. A hardcore lefty tried to murder Trump and his team. Liberals tried to use cliché scapegoat. How Trump's America produces normie assassins. Trump's hypocritical crusade on violent rhetoric and the country's emerging split reality. Trump's ballroom comments prove even bullets can't stop the grift. I don't give a damn. Jeffries defends maximum warfare remark. Defiant Jimmy Kimmel goes nuclear on Trump and Melania. Not backing down. Jimmy Kimmel fires back at the Trumps, offers no apology for expectant widow joke. Jimmy Kimmel defends his obvious joke about Melania Trump after she issues scathing rebuke. It was a very light roast. Jimmy Kimmel to Melania Trump. Talk to your hubby about hateful rhetoric before coming for me. Iran offers to end chokehold on Strait of Hormuz and asks U.S. to end blockade, officials say. Xi tests China's reach by blocking already done Meta deal. AfD supporters' gun rights secretly curbed by German state. Ultra-processed foods shorten attention span. We are bombarding America's forests with Roundup. What to know as King Charles prepares to meet Mamdani for 9/11 ceremony. April 29, 2026. Trump to feature on limited edition U.S. passports for 250th anniversary. King Charles III condemns White House Correspondents' Dinner assassination attempt. Such acts of violence will never succeed. Jealous Trump reacts to King Charles' brutal speech. U.S. examining latest Iranian proposal on Hormuz. Trump claims Iran in state of collapse. Iranian ambassador scolded after Metro finds Telegram account recruiting martyrs. United Arab Emirates will leave OPEC in a blow to the oil cartel. Pentagon admits no defense against Russian and Chinese hypersonic weapons. Chinese scientists turn carbon dioxide into jet fuel as prices soar. Disneyland is now scanning your face at nearly every gate, sparking privacy concerns. Prodigal paradox. Anti-ICE group receives millions from taxpayers in a year. Here's what we got in return. Arrest warrant issued for ex-FBI Director James Comey. Former FBI Director James Comey indicted for last year's 86-47 stunt after newest assassination attempt. Trump sicks the state on his critics. DOJ indicts Comey for social media post. FCC menaces Disney over Kimmel joke. Commissioner rips car, unprecedented and unlawful. FCC orders early license renewal for ABC stations following Kimmel's First Lady joke. Double standard. UCLA dean warns conservative group it would face discipline for naming protesters. Poisoned mind. The Dems' newest phrase into raging at the GOP is to go delete yourself. Fortnite announces refunds for in-game purchases related to David. April 30th, 2026. Israeli forces raid global Samud flotilla boats in international waters. Supreme Court voids race-based redistricting map in Louisiana. 6-3 ruling. Kagan dissent says sky is falling. Bayou breakthrough. Supreme Court strikes down institutionalized racism. Supreme Court rules in lockstep with Trump admin's vision of a whiter America. Bloodthirsty MAGA senator addresses bubble wand photo. They're coming for me. Bongino fears Democrat retaliation after planting fake leads to catch deep state snakes and leakers. Schools take action against staff for Trump assassination attempt posts. J.D. Vance says White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting was tougher for his pregnant wife Usha, who was at home. Jimmy Kimmel calls out Trump for joking about his own death, same as he did. That was fast. New York City's socialist mayor already begging for a bailout. Mamdani acts like petulant teen in front of the king and queen. Ireland to end state-provided housing for Ukrainians. Canada chosen as host for new multinational defense bank. LIV Golf reportedly loses Saudi funding as tour future looks murky. Billionaire's son offers to rehome Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos. Mexican man living in California pleads guilty to impersonating federal agents in effort to stop deportations. David dismembered teen girl with chainsaw and tried to cover his tracks, prosecutors allege.